Hello everyone, my name is Ronald Denisio and I'm the Virtual Content Specialist for 7th grade Social Studies. I wanted to take the time to talk about a lesson from Unit 4, A Nation Grows, Expansion and Reform. The lesson is Unit 4, Day 16, African Americans on the Frontier. The original lesson can be found in the Unit 4 Day-by-Day Planner, which can be found on page 50 of the original Passport to Social Studies Unit Plan. In this video, I will walk you through the teacher-facing document that was posted in last year's Social Studies Drive, as well as the slide deck that I adapted from the teacher-facing document. I will also walk you through the learning activities and important considerations for teaching this lesson remotely, as well as in person. Again, we will focus on Unit 4, Day 16, African Americans on the Frontier, but the strategies discussed can be used for lots of different lessons in our curriculum. So here we have the teacher-facing document that includes the focus question, the objective, the next generation standards, the resources and materials used for this lesson, the introduction and model, the independent work activities, the check for understanding, and finally the wrap-up. The lesson objective is students surfer lesser-known history of the American West by reading about free African American pioneer families. We'll be using 3 resources for this lesson: the Unheralded Pioneers article, the Polly Strong historical marker, and the John Mercer Langston biographical information. It's really important that we take the time to share the following background information on our introduction and model slides for students. And that oftentimes in the study of history, there are stories that do not get told. In American history in particular, those who study history often encounter narratives that center the experiences of white Americans and leave out perspectives of people of color. Over time, important histories of Black Americans have been left out of historical narratives that have been in our classrooms, and historians have had to work hard to uncover the documents and evidence to be able to bring those stories back into the American narrative. It's really important that we share this with students in the beginning because the main article that we're going to read today shares examples of an important history that is often not explored in classrooms, is that of African American pioneers in the 19th century. The main learning activity asks students to read the Unheralded Pioneers article. The article discusses the steps that historian Annalisa Cox takes to research about free Black pioneers who first moved west for her new book. The lesson comes with several guiding questions. It will be helpful to preview the guiding questions prior to reading the article. Students can either take notes in their notebooks responding to the guiding questions, or since the article is long, you can chunk the text for students and have them paraphrase the meaning after each paragraph. Here are some of the strategies that you can try virtually or also if you're in person. You can preview the guiding questions like I mentioned before. You can model a think out loud with the first few paragraphs of the article. You can chunk the text for students. You can also have students participate in a jigsaw strategy where they read different parts of the text in breakout rooms or in student groups and then present their findings to their classmates. You can have students work on the article in partners or also have a small group discussion where students read the text with each other. And if you're virtual, this can look like students sharing their screen and reading the text out loud to each other, but you could also do this in person as well. Here is how I can chunk the text for students. What I did was I copy and pasted a paragraph from the article, as well as one of our guiding questions. What resources did Annalisa Cox use to uncover the details of the lives of African Americans on the frontier? You can do this for as many paragraphs as you need to for your students. Additionally, if I want to model a think out loud, I'll use the introduction and model slides and do the same thing. I might read this out loud to students in the introduction of the lesson and model my thinking for what resources that Annalisa Cox used to uncover the details of the lives of African Americans on the frontier, and also talk through how I came up with that response. As an extension activity, or if you want to teach this lesson over 2 days, students can choose one of the people mentioned in the article to explore further by using one of the links below. The first link is a historical marker for Polly Strong, and the second link is biographical information on John Mercer Langston. For the wrap-up, students will respond to the following prompt. Annalisa Cox stated in the interview, "There's ways in which the way that we choose to be blind to certain aspects of our past. It's like we keep poking ourselves in the eye. It's a terrible image, but it's an act of violence to keep ourselves blind." What does Annalisa Cox mean in this statement? Finally, students will continue the conversation by responding to the following question. What are some ways that we, as students of history, can stop keeping ourselves blind? So, just a reminder that the teaching strategies for in-person and remote learning work for lots of different lessons in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum. Feel free to give these strategies a try.